All right, folks, welcome back. It's time to break down something that's been a common conversation piece for a very long time, and it's time we break it down to its fullest so y'all can understand where you possibly stand. We're going to tell you the difference today between a sugar daddy, a simp, and a trick. And it's important that you know the difference between those because men, you need to know where you stand based on your behavior and how women view you. And women, you need to recognize what you're dealing with. So if you want something else, you make sure you go get it. So as I told y'all, this is the PPM podcast. I make sure I provide proper pussy and penis management for both sides of people. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to do a double entendre today and break down the game for both sides. We're going to first talk about your sugar daddy. Sugar daddy, again, I'm sorry, let me correct myself. It's going to be sugar daddy, trick, simp. Sugar daddy, trick, simp. I need to write this down so I don't fucking lose my mind. Sugar daddy, trick, simp. All right. So let's start off with the sugar daddy. Stereotypically, sugar daddies are older gentlemen who provide financial support for younger women in return for companionship. So usually it does not involve sexual activity or anything of that nature. No, not usually. It does not involve sexual activity. It is simply companionship for money. You know what I mean? Now, it involves some type of intimacy. So that means going on dates, going out to dinner, maybe even holding hands, in some cases even cuddling. But it does not involve any type of sexual activity. And in exchange for that intimacy and that companionship, the man is typically a man. He provides financial relief to that woman. Or that guy. It's gay men out there that want to have sugar babies that are men, and there's straight men out there that want to have sugar babies that are women. When it comes to looks, a lot of times it's whatever you are to that person. So, ladies, I know some of y'all think that's only reserved for the thin, skinny, beautiful chicks. It's not. All you gotta do is be his version of an 8. You know what I mean? Not every man with money got taste. Not every man with money got access to women. Some of these dudes look disgusting or they're socially awkward or whatever the case may be. They have something going on where they can't get 8 or better. So they just go find their version of an 8. You just need to be his version of an 8. This is also regional because sugar daddies in New York City, California, Miami, Houston, those are dime cities if you don't know. We'll discuss that later. Sugar daddies in dime cities and sugar daddies in these old off-ass cities like Buffalo, a.k.a. Niagara Falls, fucking Memphis, Tennessee. Like these little hole-in-the-wall ass cities where they may be known cities, but they ain't known for having no crazy money. You know what I mean? People with money don't flock to these kind of cities. People with money flock to Los Angeles. They flock to New York City. They flock to Miami. They flock to Houston, Dallas. They flock there. People with money don't flock to North Dakota and fucking Wisconsin and all types of craziness. So it's depend on where you are. Now, if you in those dime cities, which we're going to break down on another podcast, if you're in a dime city and you're not an 8, in that dime city, it's going to be hard for you to find a sugar daddy. Fellas, if you want to know if a woman is trying to put you in a sugar daddy bag, here's how you figure that out. If everything you do is transactional with her and you're not having sex with her, she is putting you in the sugar daddy bag. She's putting you in the sugar daddy bag. So you can get to dinner with her, you can go out to the movies with her, you can do a lot of stuff, but you ain't getting no skin. She is putting you in the sugar daddy bag. See, a lot of times women want a sugar daddy and they're not honest about it or they're not upfront about it. They'll just behave in that manner and try and gauge you and try and guide you in that direction in hopes that you would hang on to that. The problem is, women, ladies, when you do that, it don't last long because you never know the intention of the man. So if you don't know the intention of the man, you're trying to force him into a sugar daddy role. He like, yo, this ain't working. It's only going to last for a few months, few weeks, whatever the case may be before he gives up. And now you got to go back and hit the ground again. So what you got to do, ladies, is you got to come up and you got to be very intentional when looking for a sugar daddy, right? Very intentional. So I guess you would ask, what do you look for in a sugar daddy? What you typically want to look for is a working man, a hard-working man who don't have much time, right? And typically what happens is he's so busy in his professional career that when he has his time off, he never took any type of dedication to making sure his time outside of work was valuable. He only valued his time inside work. So what you want to do is find a man who don't have shit going on unless he's on the clock, right? Yes, this is typically older gentlemen, and I'm talking 35 plus. Because typically, a man at that age is usually in a at least a mid-level professional career. Now, you want to look at a man who got his shit together. You know what I mean? How do you know if a man got his shit together? A man, the way he dressed, the way he carry himself, the kind of car he drive, and where he lives is a very telltale sign of a man who got his shit together. I promise you, a man who does not have his shit together is going to be fucked up in one of those areas. Where he live, how he dressed, the car he drive. One of those three areas is going to be fucked up if he ain't got his shit together. I guarantee you. He's only going to have two of the three. He's never going to have all three locked, steady, tight. When you know of a man that has all three up front, locked, steady, tight, you can have a good gauge that this man most likely got his shit together, right? The next step is conversation piece. Is this man complaining about money? Is he complaining about finances? Is everything bothering him? Is he aggravated? Is he a little bit on the mean side? A lot of times, not asshole, because men who don't give a fuck and ain't desperate for ass is going to be assholes. But men that are just aggravated and on some old mean shit is usually because that money fucked up in some capacity. So ladies, you need to know where he live, how he's living, where he live, and how he's living. The car he drive, and his look as far as clothes. I'm not saying his clothes need to be a runway model as far as how they fit and shit like that. But is this shit wholly sloppy or whatever the case may be? It's some men that don't got style, but they ain't never gonna be sloppy. You feel what I'm saying? So he may be trying to just put that shit on and just don't look right for him because he don't know what he's doing. So you gotta always look at that. His clothes, his car, his life. How is he living? Where is he living? Those things matter to figure out if a man money fucked up, right? So what you do is you find out with that. Honestly, that can take you 2 days of conversation, even less than that if you properly gamed up. Come holler at me and we can do private consultations, and I can really get you right. And have you figure that shit out within an hour. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing you want to do, ladies, you want to get the man talking. And fellas, same thing in reverse. You want to get the woman talking. But point is, you find those things out very early on because that's not something you want to hide. As far as his clothes, Instagram, right? Hit his Instagram, hit his Facebook, find his pictures, see how he dressing. You feel what I'm saying? Look at his story, whatever the case may be, see how he dressing. If this person is always in a suit for work, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. You got to see him outside of work because at work, it's so easy to throw a suit on and be cool. Where are you dressing like outside of work? I need to see that. Do you got thong sandals on and shit, all types of craziness? You need to find that out, right? So, to find out if a man got his shit together, how he dressed, car he drive, where he living, how he living. So let's say you see his dress, he's He might not have style, but it's clean cut. His shit ain't frayed. He probably got some expensive shit on. He probably shops at a motherfucker ain't wearing Walmart t-shirt. Well, Walmart. Well, I ain't gonna say Walmart t-shirt. He ain't wearing Walmart dress shirts and Walmart shirts and Walmart pants and fucking Walmart jeans and Walmart. You know what I mean? They ain't, his whole fucking dress code ain't coming from Walmart and Target. You know what I mean? A man with his shit together at minimum is gonna be at Express. You know what I mean? He gonna be at Express. He gonna be at Polo. You know, Ralph Lauren, Nautica. You know what I mean? Middle class. I'm talking about middle class men. I know some of y'all be reaching for rich men, but y'all ain't eligible for rich men, so stop the shit. So middle class men, you know what I mean? He gonna be at Express, Nautica, Polo, you know, places like that. So he's clean dressed. All right, cool. Checkpoint one. Now you're looking at his car. What year is his car? Right now, I don't like dating this kind of shit, but whatever. It's whatever year it is that you listening to it. Is his car 10 years old? 8, 9 years old? So let's say he has a foreign car, foreign luxury car. We're going to go foreign luxury. If he got BMW, Mercedes-Benz, you know, that's what I mean by foreign luxury. If he got one of those and that motherfucker is more than 5 years old, you have a problem. Because men that drive those kind of cars don't like to let those kind of cars get too old. Damn sure enough don't want to be 5 years behind. Because if you're 5 years behind, you're technically 6 years behind because it came out the year before. So if it's your year, count back 5 years, you technically got to add another year because that's when the actual car came out. That's when you know he had. Typically, men that drive those kind of cars don't like to let those kind of cars get that old. They usually like to go get, they probably let it get 3, 4 years old. Once it hits 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, they really want to get rid of it. So you want to check that out, right? So a man that drives foreign luxury cars, he usually ain't letting that car get more than 3 years old. A man that drives American cars, and let's say, I'm not saying like American, we're going to go American standard and American luxury, right? American standard cars, those guys, they typically will let those cars get 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, but them shits be clean as hell. The ones that got American luxury, and that's like a Tahoe, Escalade, something like that, they're the same way with the foreign luxury cars. It's 3, 4 years max, and they getting them shits to fuck rotated out, right? So you gotta find out how he living. If a man has a car, let's just give just a solid average. If a man's car is more than 7 to 8 years old, you might want to check into that because he might be a little tight with his money, but that also means he might be a little more flexible with his money because some men don't always care about the car. They like, look, this car was great when I got it. I got it new. Whatever the case may be, I'm the first owner. This shit is in great condition. I'm not wasting my money on a car. That's stupid, right? But here's how you check that car situation. The car and the house go hand in hand. If his car is 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, the house better be tight. You feel what I'm saying? So he better be in a nice ass house, nice ass condo, nice ass apartment. His shit better be fly. You feel what I'm saying? So when you having that conversation with him and he's like, yeah, you know, I live in an apartment, da da da. Be like, oh, I would love to see your apartment. You know, send me, get on FaceTime with him and have him walk you through that fucking apartment, right? And if he walk you through that apartment and you looking at that motherfucker and that shit ain't fly, his money ain't right. His money ain't right because if he got an older car, which he should be paying off by now, or should be paid off by now. If he got an older car and his house is fucked up, his money ain't good. His money is not good. So you gotta make sure you check those things out, right? So, clothes, vehicle, house, and how he's living. Right? So that's the house and how he's living. Now, I did 3 of those parts. And that's kind of a 4-parter, but the house and how he living go hand in hand, right? So let's say his clothes is good, his car is good, his house is good. You got to know how he living because if he's only treading water, it's because those 3 things are bogging him the fuck down to the point that he doesn't have any extra money. You see what I'm saying? So if he doesn't have extra money, he can't be your sugar daddy. He cannot be your sugar daddy if he doesn't have the money to spend on you. You got to be careful with that. All right. So let me see here. This motherfucker gonna act up, huh? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I see you. All right. So let's say he went ahead and everything good on the first three, but the way he living, he kind of tight with his money. That means his money funny. So all those things matter. Now, just because a man doesn't spend his money the way you think he should, a lot of y'all women like to think that all men should spend their money like a rapper or a drug dealer, and that's not realistic. That is not realistic. What you want to do is find out those subtle things to show that he has money. Let me tell you how to recognize that. You got to look at the accessories in his life. Not his, so for example, I'll give you an example, right? Here, accessories in his life. You be like, okay, he drives an American car. He drives a Chevy, right? Let's say he drives a Chevy Trailblazer or a Chevy Traverse. Let's say he drives a 2020 Chevy Trailblazer or a Traverse, right? His apartment laid, cool. His clothes, clean cut, fly, you know what I mean? He might even be on the flyer side. Cologne on point. Cologne is a big tester to see the kind of man you with. If the man is always smelling good, I promise you, he's spending some nice money on cologne, because I spend a lot of money on cologne, and I promise you, my bottles be $100 plus. All right, cool. What y'all like to do is y'all like to look at men that only, he got the 300 Tom Ford, the two $300 Tom Ford. Okay, but if he only got one bottle of that, right, and the rest of his cologne is bullshit, what the fuck does that mean? You want to look at all his cologne collection, his entire collection. So make sure he show you that. But point is, all right, he got a 2020 Blazer, Chevy Trailblazer or Traverse, right? He got his apartment's laid, his clothes is clean cut, right? Now, next step is you want to look at those accessories. What is his watch looking like? What is his jewelry looking like? What about all the things that's inside his vehicle? So let's say if he got a 2020, is it the base model or is it the fully loaded version? You know what I'm saying? Fully loaded versions usually have electric shit in it. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times they have leather and fully loaded things as well. So you want to check that out. And then when you look at his house, right, when he give you that walkthrough on FaceTime, you want to look at his house and you want to see how that's laid. What does his kitchen table? What does his table look like in his dining room? Does his silverware? What does that look like? Do he got candles in the house? Does this motherfucker care about how the candles smell? What about his garbage can? What you'll start to notice is you'll notice the upgraded features of the accessories of a man who doesn't like to overspend on things that he don't like, right? What kind of computer does he have? At this point, everybody should have some type of computer, desktop or laptop. Is he a person with a MacBook? You got to look at those things. It is important that you look at those things because those things matter, because you got to find out what this man finds valuable in the way he spend his money. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all think men just supposed to have all this random shit just because you got all this random shit just because you think he's supposed to have random shit, and that's not how it works. Men are very intentional on how they spend their money, so they'll spend their money how they feel needed. They'll spend their money in things that you may not even notice. So you may be dealing with a nigga nerd and he putting a lot of money in his technology. So if you start hearing him talking about his MacBook, his iPad, his iMac, his MacBook Pro, his whatever the case may be, ask him about the specs on that. Be like, I was looking to get a computer. So let me know, like, what should I get? And they might go, what's your budget? Be like, make up a fucking number. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you the number to say. Say about $2,000 to $2,500, right? You say $2,000 to $2,500 for your budget for a laptop. You don't have to really spend that kind of money. Just tell him that's your budget, right? And he'll start rattling off at the mouth about, okay, he might start asking you about memory and speed and stuff like that. Say, hey, what you think you're going to be doing on it? Be like, I just need a computer to be fast and hold a lot of memory. Just say that. You don't really need to know what that means, because then what he'll start doing is rattling off what you need. And you might find a man that has a passion in electronics and technology. So then, if you find a man that has a passion in electronics and technology, then guess what? All his electronics and technology gonna be some upgraded fly ass shit. So I understand you think this because a drug dealer throwing money in the club and go back to a fucking house in the hood, you think that's a nigga with money. No. When you start looking at the technology that this man has in his life, from now on, when he starts talking about that shit, make sure you Google it. Google the price of the technology of the man that you're dealing with, and you'll realize, yo, god damn, this man's spending this much money. He got $10,000 in computers. You see what I'm saying? So you got to recognize those little things as well. So you got to get a man talking. You got to get your Google on and make sure you're doing your research when he's telling you about certain things that he possesses and certain things that he owns and certain things that he values. Say, hey, another good question, ask him, hey, what do you think is your most expensive hobby? He'll tell you with the quickness and the swiftness what the fuck is his most expensive hobby is. You see what I'm saying? A lot of y'all think expensive hobby got to be some nigga shit, nigga trinkets. It got to be cars. It got to be clothes. It got to be jewelry. Y'all think that's the only version of expensive hobbies. Yeah, one shirt may cost $100, but one memory card may cost $250. But y'all too obsessed with these rappers and these rapper baby moms. Y'all think that there's only one way to live. Athletes and rappers and everybody else is broke. And that's not the case. And that's why a lot of y'all missing out on y'all sugar daddy opportunities. You feel me? So that's the kind of questions you ask when it comes to sugar daddy, right? Next up is trick. When it comes to these tricks, right? A lot of times all they're looking for is validation. They don't really care about anything but validation. You got to talk them up. Make them feel good about themselves, because when you make them feel good about themselves, they're going to splurge that money on you. Fellas, how do you realize you are a trick? If every interaction you have with women is transactional, you are a trick. There's too many women on this planet Earth for none of the women that you deal with who likes you without it being transactional. So that means the only time a woman talks to you if there's some type of money exchange involved, and it doesn't have to be directly to her, it can be indirect. Taking her out to eat, going out to the club, buying all her drinks, taking her shopping. That is crazy to do. If all of your interactions are a financial transaction, if you can't go an entire day without spending $1 on this woman, or an entire interaction without spending $1 on this woman, she is putting you in the trick bag, and you need to go ahead and cut her loose. Unless you got trick and spirit in your body, and that's what you want to be. Now, if you want to be a little trick and you got that trick and spirit in your body, hey, go find you a girl to trick on, and she accept it, and all that other stuff. So that's how you know if you're in a trick bag, right? And if all interactions, all of them, I'm telling you, she's never going to skip a beat. She's going to bleed you dry, and then when you're done, she's going to throw you away and find the next trick. She's going to bleed you. You know what I mean? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It will go on as long as you allow it. She will bleed you. And once you cut it off, you'll see her mentality change, her attitude change. Next thing you know, she's on to the next. Now, last but not least, is simp. You see, women, they don't really respect simps, but they like them. Let me see something 1 second. Hold on a second, yeah. So, women don't like simps. They don't respect them, but they will take advantage of them. So, hold on, wait a minute. The fuck? Hold on a second. All right, my fault. Um, so what they'll do is they'll butter you up. They'll talk nice to you, and it's the same as the trick. Is they treat you better because they understand they're not going to get a lot from you at one time, but they know they can get a little from you multiple times. You know what I mean? These are chicks. Just think of like OnlyFans and fucking shit like that. The snap premium Snapchats and shit like that. Think about it in that capacity. So what they'll do is they know you a simp. They know you ain't really got the confidence or nothing like that. So they're your confidence. They'll give you reassuring comments. They'll rub you, they might even rub your little shoulder, shit like that, make you think you have an opportunity. They'll make a date with you, and then they'll cancel on you, like, oh my God, something came up. Da, 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 da. I'm so sorry, my babysitter. And you're like, oh man, I'm sorry. Or they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I got called into work and I really need the money. And da, da, da. They'll start having these little sob stories about money. Everything they talk about involve a hardship of money or something of that nature. And your little simp ass will go, oh, let me send you some money. I may not have the whole thing, but here's, $100 on it. Thanks, She's like, oh, thank you so much. You're making my life a little easier. I'm going to, go to work and get the rest. And I really, really love you. And oh my God, I can't wait to see you. And yeah, she's giving you a lot of false help. And she's running this game on multiple guys at the same time. You feel what I'm saying? And y'all all falling for it. So there's more simps in this world than anything. And a lot of times the crazy thing is dudes don't think they simps. They think they keeping it player because they coming out their pockets every time they dealing with a woman. And that's not keeping it player, bro. I promise you it's not. It's not at all. But you think it is, and she's telling you, oh, guys like that, they just don't understand. Or real men do this. They love using that shit. They hit you with the real men shit. And if they real men come after some shit that talks about you spending money on them, I promise you, you're in the simp bag, my dude. So make sure you understand that. All right. All right. Thank you for tuning in to the PPM podcast, man. I appreciate y'all continuing listening. Make sure you send feedback. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up, HVO Marv, on all social media platforms. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and discuss topics that y'all send in, whatever the case may be. I do have a Patreon, but I don't put no exclusive content on there. I'm waiting to grow the fan base first. Once we get the supporter base up, I'll offer a Patreon where I'm giving additional content, behind the scenes content, stuff like that. But until then, it is what it is. We're going to keep rocking like this. I definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right, man, I'm out of here. Peace.